Good morning, readers. Well, today we are now into February. First month of the year is gone. If you can believe it's actually been that long since Christmas. On the other hand, it seems like it's been forever. So anyway, I have a bit of a cold today, so if I sound hoarse, that's why. And if I sense a sneeze coming, I'm going to try to pause the video. We'll see how that all works. Today you can get He Never Forgot, which is book number 9 in the Zachary Goldman Private Investigator series for free on Kindle or iBooks or any of the online retailers. And this is book 9 in the series, but it can be read as a standalone. If you haven't read the rest, then that's fine. You can also get She Wore Mourning, which is the first book in the series, for free. So if you do want to start from number 1, you can get a head start on that today. And I've gathered up a bunch of other freebies that you might be interested in. So you can head over to my blog to have a look at the other ones as well. And I thought I would do a short reading from He Never Forgot today, provided my voice holds out all right. And because I've read from the first chapter or two before, I'm going to be reading from chapter 3, just so you don't have to listen to the same thing again. All right. He went home to Kenzie's house rather than to his apartment. They were still splitting time between the two places, but Kenzie's was far nicer and better stocked with food and other necessities that Zachary tended to forget about until he really needed them. So most weekdays they spent there, going back to Zachary's for the weekend, or sometimes they spent time apart. Each of them sometimes needed their own space. Zachary carefully monitored the amount of time he was away from Kenzie to make sure that he wasn't asking for more space than she was. He didn't want to be accused of being selfish or not invested in the relationship. So, did you take on the new client, and is he crazy? Kenzie asked, after greeting him with a brief kiss. They settled in the living room, close to each other on the couch. Kenzie shut off her TV program with the remote. I took the case, but he didn't seem particularly crazy. Anxious, yes, but crazy? Zachary shrugged. Was it crazy for a man to want to reconnect with his history and to visit his childhood home? Zachary didn't think it was that unusual. He told Kenzie about the meeting, leaving out any names or identifying information. Kenzie wrinkled her brow. You don't think it's strange that he wants to find this house that he can't even remember? Well, no. I could understand if he had fond memories of the place and wanted to revisit those feelings, but when he doesn't remember anything about it, and by everything he said so far, it probably wasn't a good atmosphere for him, why would he want to find it again? Because it's something that he's lost. It's something concrete that he can look at and touch when he doesn't remember anything from that time. Kenzie pursed her lips, considering it. Why do people research their family trees or have their DNA tested to see what their heritage is? People like to know their stories, their origins, even if it isn't something they can remember, maybe especially if they can't remember. Is that how you feel? Do you want to do your family tree and go back? She stopped herself and didn't suggest that he might want to go back to his childhood home. Go back to somewhere you used to live? No, I was 10 when I left there. I remember it all very clearly. I wouldn't want to go back there, even if it did still exist. Kenzie nodded. But I do want to reconnect with my siblings, Zachary pointed out. I haven't seen them for a long time, and the little ones wouldn't remember me at all. But I would hope that they would still want to see me, even though they don't remember me. Yes, of course. And would you want to see your parents again? Zachary caught his breath. He felt like he'd been kicked in the chest, suddenly unable to draw in any more oxygen. Would he ever want to see his parents again if he had the opportunity? He had pleaded to go back to his mother. He had begged his social worker to see if she had changed her mind and might take him and the others back again. For years he'd fantasized about going home again, escaping whatever situation he was in, and living some happily ever after with his family. Zachary, Kenzie rubbed his back. Sorry, was that the wrong thing to say? I just wondered how you felt about it. I didn't mean to upset you. Zachary tried to shake his head and draw another breath. The world felt like it had frozen around him, or maybe that he'd frozen inside himself. It's okay. Think about the good things. Think about being here with me, about Tyrrell and Heather and Joss. You were so happy to meet them again. Think about how nice it's been to have contact with them again. Zachary managed a tiny nod, but still couldn't breathe. Kenzie continued to rub his back, not trying to rush him back, not like those who had pinched or slapped him or tried to get his attention when he got lost in memories. Zachary forced a little air out, then breathed in shallowly. It was a few minutes before he felt the tension melting, the memories releasing him. "Yeah, getting a drink," he told Kenzie, trying to rise. "You just stay there. I'll get you a glass of water." Kenzie got up. "You need anything else?" She didn't ask him if he needed his Xanax. She'd let him ask for it. "No, just dry." Kenzie had cold water in a filter jug in the fridge. She poured him a tall glass and handed it to him on her return. Zachary sipped the icy cold water. It was just what he needed. "When I was a kid, I still wanted to go back to them. I thought I could make everything right again, glue the family back together. But by the time I was an adult," he shook his head, "I knew that would never work, and that the kind of people they were, I wouldn't want to live with them again." Kenzie looked into his eyes. "Things must have been pretty bad." "When I was little, I didn't really know. It's just the way things were. I held on to times when things were better, kind of pretended that things were good most of the time. But as I got older, I realized how bad they really were. And my mom?" Zachary took a deep breath, trying not to let the memories overwhelm him again. "I told you how she was when she decided to get rid of us. She was—" Zachary breathed in and out, strangled. "I can't imagine anyone treating a child like that. I thought I was grown up and that I deserved it for a long time. But now, when I look at Reese or other people's kids, I can't imagine it. Reese is a teenager, and I would never talk to him the way she did to me, or hold him responsible for making a mistake like that. Yeah, you have to realize she was unreasonable." "There were 6 of us, and I know I was in trouble a lot," Zachary said, jumping to his mother's defense even after pointing out himself how wrong she'd been to treat him that way. "I get how she might feel overwhelmed, burned out. It's no excuse for abandoning 6 kids, or for calling you the names she did." Zachary bit his lip and nodded. He took another sip of the water, welcoming the chill. "So, no, I don't think that even if one of them came looking for me, I don't think I would want to meet them. Never again." Kenzie nodded. She put her hand over his, soothing him. "Anyway, I didn't mean to bring all that up. I just didn't understand why the house would be so important to your client." Zachary chewed the inside of his cheek, thinking about it. Well, it had seemed natural to him. On a closer examination, he wasn't sure it was as logical as he'd asserted. Why did Burton want to find his house instead of finding his parents? Did he come from a background like Zachary's? Had they been abusive or negligent? He might not remember any of that. He could just be following a feeling, drawn to the house, but not to his abusers. I don't know. If he was apprehended when he was 5, he probably didn't have a great life. Or maybe his parents were killed. He might know that without remembering it, if it was traumatic. Kenzie nodded. "Things to think about," she said lightly. "Follow the clues." All right, so that is a reading from He Never Forgot, book number 9 in the Zachary Goldman Mysteries. You can download it for free today and check out my blog for some other offerings. Thank you. Talk to you next week.